Welcome back, everyone. Dustin again here, Average Guy Hi-Fi. I've got another review for you. This was a review that I kind of put off for a long time. I've actually had these speakers kind of about 6-8 months ago when I started reviewing speakers here on YouTube. So I just been putting it off because it's quite a bit of work because these are Atmos speakers. So what I have here is the Pioneer. This is the SPBS 22A LR bookshelf speaker. It's kind of a mouthful there, but what you can see here, what makes this different from the other Andrew Jones Pioneer speakers that I reviewed, which were the same, except this right here has the Atmos modules in the top. So it has kind of an angled top there, and then it has the Atmos module up front, and on the back it has dual binding posts. The lower section is for the main speakers there on the front, the tweeter and the woofer, and then the upper binding posts are for the Atmos top. So again, I kind of put it off a little while just because it takes a long time to get everything torn apart, run extra wires. But what I found out in the process was that my Denon X3300W receiver is only allows for 2 Atmos channels. So I do have 4 of these that I purchased, but I'm only able to show you guys 2 of them functioning. So the way that I'm going to set it up is going to be the left and the right speakers are going to have the Atmos modules, and then the surround speakers are the same speakers. I'm just not hooking the Atmos modules up. So that's unfortunately what I'm going to have to do. I am planning on upgrading receivers down the road, but it's just not smart to be spending a whole bunch of money. So I've just been holding off on that until we kind of figure out what's going to happen with the economy and everything. So the other speaker that I ended up grabbing, I've actually already reviewed for you guys, but this right here is the Pioneer Andrew Jones SPC22 center channel speaker. So it has the same 1-inch soft dome tweeter. It has the same 4-inch woofers. They're pretty close. The Pioneer recommends that the max power for the SPBS22ALR is 80 watts. For this center channel, they're recommending 90 watts. That's kind of the max power for that. So the MSRP for these was $349 for the Atmos bookshelf speakers, and the MSRP for this, I believe, is $99, which is a very good deal for the center channel speaker for getting a brand new speaker. So I'll kind of give you a close-up what the grill looks like. I complained about this a little bit last time, but where the tweeter's at, they have this really kind of rigid plastic kind of blocking that. So I don't know. I kind of put them on and off this time, just trying to see if I could hear a difference. I didn't notice a huge difference there, but just at a design standpoint, it'd be nice if they would have left that plastic at least exposed, or not in the area where the tweeter's at. So, again, a little nitpicky there, but just something that I noticed. So let's go over there. This is going to be my first Atmos experience. You guys are going to witness it. I've been in other people's houses that have Atmos, but I've never had it in my place. I'll give you fair warning, though. My room is pretty much ideal for Atmos with all the research that I've been doing over the past couple weeks. I have low ceilings, 8-foot ceilings. I have, it's not a very big room. It's about 11 feet by 15 feet, kind of a rectangle there. So with the Atmos modules, these are the bouncy, what Gene over at Audioholics calls bouncy Atmos modules. Ideally, you'll have them in the ceiling, but again, I wanted to give you guys my first impressions of Atmos in my room here. So we'll pop over there and we'll get the demo going. All right, everyone, we got the Pioneer Andrew Jones Atmos speakers set up. Again, I'm just running these, just the front 2 Atmos bookshelf speakers. I do have the matching Atmos speakers in the back too, but my receiver only supports 2 Atmos channels. So that was something I kind of learned. I'm about ready to upgrade my receiver, so eventually I will be doing that. But this is my first experience with basically Atmos in my place. So I've actually kind of got an ideal room reading all the information about Atmos. You know, my ceilings are about 8-foot ceilings. It's basically square, so those Atmos modules or the bookshelf speakers are kind of towed in a little bit, and it's just, these are the bouncy house speakers, again, like Gene over on Audioholics refers to them as. So this isn't ideal. Ideally, you would have these Atmos modules just right in the ceiling itself, and you'd have 4 of them. So that's what most people are kind of running. But this is just a simple setup. I'm not going to be running Atmos. I'm just renting this place, so the landlord would freak out if I drilled holes in the ceiling and put speakers up there. So this is just for a demo for you guys and for myself, since it's my first experience. So this is Mad Max Furry Road in 4K This is the scene where they're going after Furiosa in the war rig, and I've read articles. This is a really good scene for showing off Atmos. So I'm just going to hit play. Right now it's set on negative 15 dB on the Denon. The Denon is powering the two Atmos modules. That's it. The Marantz 7055 amplifier is powering the main speakers. So here we go. We'll just hit play and we'll kind of jump right into it. The microphone is on my little light right here. I'm trying to give you guys a little bit better representation from main listening position instead of walking around with it. So that's why my voice doesn't sound as good in this room. But basically, I just wanted you guys to get, as best as I can, give you a good representation of Atmos and see if it's kind of worth it. I'll give you guys my overall impressions here, the average guy hi-fi score after this preview. So here we go.
Yeah. Organic. His job is blood back. Righto.
Okay, well, hope you guys enjoyed that sound demo. Honestly, being my first impressions, I wasn't expecting a whole lot. I've read some kind of negative things about the Atmos speakers that use the bouncy reflections instead of the direct Atmos speakers. But, you know, for people that are living in little condos and apartments and that can't drill into walls and it just doesn't make sense to do all that stuff to actually mount Atmos speakers, I think it's worth the investment. Obviously, your room will vary. If you have vaulted ceilings or if you have a really big room, things like that, it might not work out as well. But for my little room, it definitely added a whole bunch of dimension to that movie. I'm a big fan of that movie to begin with, but having those Atmos modules firing at the ceiling definitely added some height to the overall experience. So, you know, I'm really hesitant about just telling people it's totally worth it because your room will be very dependent if it's going to sound good or not. My room just happened to work. So I've been putting speakers here. I know that you guys caught on to it the last review where I reviewed speakers and I had different speakers sitting here, but I'm just going to start putting speakers that I'm planning on reviewing down the road here, and then that way it will give you a little glimpse of what's coming up here. So this is one of the most reviewed speakers I've ever seen, but we'll get to that later. So we'll jump right into the average guy hi-fi score for the Pioneer Andrew Jones Atmos speakers. So again, if you're familiar with this channel, I give you guys an average of 5 things that I look for in speakers. So there's quality, there is the sound, obviously, there is the MSRP, where they stack up in the MSRP range, there is the aesthetics, how they look in my room, and there's also my price that I paid for them. Each category is worth 10 points, and then we average it out, and then I give you guys the average guy hi-fi score. So we'll just jump right into it. From a quality standpoint, obviously I've already reviewed these speakers previously, that's just the non-Atmos version. So the quality, I gave them a 7. They're nice quality speakers, quality binding posts. The woofers feel nice and heavy duty considering their size. The cabinets are quality and everything as well too, but they are, you know, these are more of a budget-minded speaker, so they do have some kind of, I can nitpick things apart a little bit, like the edges where they kind of bonded the material to the wood. It feels like it's got a little bit sharp edges, so I was worried about that for peeling. Previously, I've had speakers kind of, once that little corner starts going, they can actually unpeel. I haven't seen anything like that, so I'm not putting them down in that range, but it's just one of those things where I have higher quality speakers out there, but for the budget that these come in at, they're very, very nice speakers. So I gave them a 7 out of 10 there. Sound, I bumped it up a little bit. The Atmos definitely added to my experience, so I gave them an 8.5 out of 10 when it comes to the sound. Hearing the overheads and everything kind of coming down at me was definitely, it just gave you a whole nother dimension to the movie experience. So good score there. The MSRP rating is really where these things clean up. I gave them a 9 out of 10, same as the last Andrew Jones speakers that I reviewed. I think that getting 2 Atmos bookshelf speakers for anywhere around $350 in the center channels usually can be had for under $100. That's just an amazing deal. So when it comes to the MSRP value, very high score there, 9 out of 10. The aesthetics, I gave them a 6 out of 10, which is still a good score. You know, it's not the best score or anything like that, but they just don't, they're budget-minded speakers, so their intention was to make very high-quality sounding speakers at an affordable price, and they knocked that out of the park. But they just didn't put a whole bunch when it comes to the looks. Now, they have nice curved cabinets. You might like that, you might not. But just, again, it's still a good score, 6 out of 10 when it comes to the aesthetics. My price paid, I've had so many amazing deals over speakers, so I gave them a 6 out of 10 here. Paying $380 for five speakers, and 4 of those speakers being Atmos, is a very good deal, especially considering that they're all still current. All of these models that I'm reviewing are still current in the lineup. So they are discontinued, but you could still buy them. But you'll just have to do a little bit of research. So what's that average out to? So that is 36.5 out of 50, which is a 72%. I had a great time reviewing these. Again, I put this review off for a while just because of the labor involved in yanking my system apart, getting running the extra speaker wires and all that. It kind of saved me realizing that my Denon receiver doesn't do 4 Atmos speakers, so that saved me from having to run about another 30 feet of speaker wire. So that kind of ended up helping out a little bit. So again, this is something that's coming up next. I actually have something really cool for the channel. I told myself if I ever hit 400 subscribers, I would invest in the channel a little bit. So I've got something really cool coming up. This is a part of that. So stay tuned. Again, if you guys are into like the used home audio gear, or if you have questions about speakers that maybe you're considering, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to help. It's starting to work. We're starting to get more and more people asking me questions because, again, I've owned hundreds of pairs of speakers, so I have personal experience. And this new thing that I'm going to be doing for the channel is going to help kind of give me provide you guys with more content on a 2-channel setup. So that's coming up here next. That video should be shot here in the next couple days, and then we'll just keep this thing going. So again, my name is Dustin. The name of the channel is Average Guy HiFi. Please subscribe if you're into the used audio or budget-minded home audio. I would be happy to have you stick around and hopefully answer some questions you might have. Thank you guys very much.